On this week's show, we head to the Diamond to recap the Flames' showdown with Virginia Tech and learn more about Jaylen Guy's impact on the program.
Also, a little birdie told me Liberty Golf is the real deal. Plus, the inspirational story of Flames midfielder Arnold Onyango. This is Flames Central.
Sit back, relax, and get ready for a great show today. Welcome to Flame Central. She's Emily Austin. I'm Matt Warner. Fan favorite Rhett McGibbon will join us a little bit later.
He sure will. Matt, one of the great things about sports is when you get to match up with a ranked team, it's a chance to see just how you stack up against the best. And a few Liberty teams had an opportunity to do so this week. Yeah,
let's start with some baseball. We've talked all season about the Flames' success against the ACC. They were 4-1 entering the week, but they hadn't faced an ACC opponent the level of Virginia Tech yet. The Hokies were ranked anywhere from number 17 to number 12, depending on your poll of preference. The Flames would elect to start senior transfer Dylan Cumming. He hadn't started a game since he was at Chicago State over a year ago, but you sure couldn't tell it. Cumming would hold the Hokies scoreless for the first 6 innings of the ballgame. Meanwhile, the Liberty offense got production from up and down the lineup. In the 3rd inning, Logan Matthews' 8th home run of the season accounted for the first Flames run. After tacking on another one in the 4th, the Flames would break things open with a 5-run 5th inning. Liberty would out-hit the Hokies 13-6 in the game as they go on to win in convincing fashion 8-2. Dylan Cumming picks up his first win in a Flames uniform as Liberty moves to 13-0 at home this season, while also continuing its domination over the ACC. What a year it's been so far for Liberty baseball. Here are the ASUN North Division standings heading into the weekend. The Flames leading the way, a game up on Kennesaw State. Still over a month to go in the regular season, but at this point, Liberty has put itself in a great position to earn a postseason bid.
Great to see the Flames in that top spot. Well, center fielder Jaylen Guy has a lot to do with the Flames' success this season. He was one of the reasons behind one of my favorite tweets as well. 71% of the earth is covered by water, and the rest is covered by Jaylen Guy. Let me tell you, this guy can ball. But there's much more Jaylen brings to the table than his talent on the field. He's setting a foundation in a way that will change his team's and his coach's perspective forever.
When I think about Jaylen Guy, the first thing I'm going to always do is smile. Just because the spirit that kid brings with him to the stadium every day.
Liberty center fielder Jaylen Guy plays the game with an infectious passion.
I just love playing baseball. Yeah. I just bring the energy because I know it helps my team out. I know it helps my team out and it helps me out.
I got to give my boy Gray a shout out on the mic. Say something.
Yep. Follow me on Instagram, gbet61.
You heard it here first. Make sure y'all get that in there.
There's life, there's spirit, there's energy, there's all those words that go with all those 3 things I just listed. He brings all of them.
Pop, no pop. He didn't take his hit juice this morning.
He brings some things that you can't teach, and that's just part of his personality.
But Jaylen also brings something else to the table, that being a different perspective. As recently as 2018, less than 5% of all college baseball players were African American. So this past fall, when issues of equality were at the forefront of our nation's mind, Flames head coach Scott Jackson sensed a unique opportunity.
I had a practice plan all drawn up, and it hit me that morning. Like, what are we doing here? Like, we don't need to worry about baseball right now. I just sent an email, like an urgent email. Hey, don't show up at the times I've already listed. Let's all meet in the lounge. And I just turned it over to Trey Carter, Emmanuel Johnson, and Jaylen Guy, the African-American players in our program, and said, hey man, I just want you guys to talk.
He approached us and was like, I think this is something we need to talk about and this is something we need to stand for. And I think he was right, so we went ahead and attacked it.
To have a kid like that in our program that is that special to me as a coach, and to be able to allow him to tell his story from the perspective that he has as a young African American, man,
And it tugged on a lot of heartstrings, and I think we made the right impact that we were trying to make within our team.
Our players, I think they had a chance to just get raw perspective on what it was like and what the vantage point is for those players, and having to go through an amateur career where our sport is predominantly, white middle-class males, and to hear their perspective on what it's always been like to be maybe one of the only African-American players on a baseball team. And it was one of those growing moments that I'll never forget as a coach. And despite what the circumstances were in our country at that point, one of the neatest moments of my career, just to be able to hear from those guys and to grow myself.
And now, months later, Jaylen's willingness to share has continued to reverberate throughout the program.
In the weeks following, and even now, it led to a lot of dialogue between him and other players, myself and other players, and just other guys amongst each other, that just were conversations that they wouldn't even think to have in years past, and just that were sparked by that day. Everyone comes from different backgrounds, and it's great to just have those conversations. It's definitely a step in the right direction for all of us.
Those conversations that you have now, I think they lay the groundwork for what they will go on and teach the people they're around and teach their kids and stuff. So hopefully in 10 to 20 years, we'll have a lot better people coming up, honestly.
That combination of a player willing to share his heart and teammates willing to listen continues to make a difference far beyond the field.
Baseball aside, if one of our pillars, and it is in our program, is to serve, and another one is to grow, that was about as perfect a moment to be able to celebrate two of those three pillars in our program. I want to serve my teammates by listening. That's something that all of us aren't good enough at. I think you serve when you listen the right way, and I think you grow when you open your heart to that, and that is exactly what it did for all of us. His transparency and just being honest and truthful really came out in all this, and that's the type of person we all need in all this, to grow and to understand how our country can be better from an equality and inclusion standpoint.
Matt, great job producing this piece. And when you think about what Jaylen Guy did and opening up about his story, what a brave move from such a young student athlete, and this responsibility that he's taking on to further this sport, especially here at Liberty. And Liberty Athletics doing the initiative of Created Equally that Jaylen Guy is taking part in too.
Yeah, it just tells you about how much this program and the teammates respect Jaylen, and how much Scott Jackson is just aware of his responsibility. It's more than baseball. He's trying to teach these guys and grow them into great young people and great young men when they leave this program, and he's certainly on the right track doing that.
So happy to see that. Well, we just can't get enough of the diamond in today's show. The Lady Flames hosted North Alabama for a 3-game conference series and took care of business, to say the least. In Game 1, Autumn Bishop, she did what she does best.
What is that?
Starting off with a homer to start the series. Her 3rd game in a row with a home run. In the circle, Emily Kirby threw a complete game, striking out 9. LU gets the 7-1 victory in that one. So we move on to Game 2, which was a doubleheader, and it was a quick one as the Lady Flames run ruled the Lady Lions 8-0. Carly Keeney tossed a 2-hit shutout, while Madison Vi sent this one out of the park for a 3-run slam. Liberty completed the sweep with a 3-0 victory on Sunday to move into a tie atop the ASUN North Division standings alongside Kennesaw State. The Lady Flames will travel to Lipscomb for a series this weekend.
Well, the Lady Flames certainly haven't shied away from top competition this season. They faced the number 1, the number 5, the number 7, and the number 13 teams in the country. This week on the Flame Central podcast, LU softball head coach Dot Richardson joined us to talk about her scheduling philosophy and her vision for the program.
This program needs to be number 1 in the country because God is number 1, right? And that's our mission, is to glorify him with all that we say and do. And what bigger platform can we do it than at the World Series and winning it? Our goal is to be the best that we can be. And in order to be your best, you have to be challenged by the best. And then you have to prove you're better. And we're at the point where we're starting to prove it. Cream rises to the top. You've heard that cliche. But mine is, we don't want to be cream. We want to be Cool Whip, right? We want to stay at the top even when it gets heated.
I love Cool Whip. To hear our entire conversation with Dot, check out the Flame Central podcast. We have a 5-star rating on iTunes. Kind of a big deal. 5 stars, you know, that's pretty good. Rhett, Emily, myself, talk all things Liberty Athletics and interview many of the people who are making news for the Flames. So check it out. Find us on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts. We are there.
He just had to mention the 5-star rating. Well, let's hit the links, shall we? The Liberty men's golf team, which is currently ranked 13th in the nation, continues to impress on the course. The Flames hosted Charlotte for a 2-day match play tournament this week. Well, first of all, let's talk about this beautiful weather for golf, right? They started the event with a 2-1 win in the 4-ball round and split with Charlotte in the foursome matches. Day 2 consisted of 5 singles matches. Liberty's Irvin Chang secured the first point of the day, then Alex Fuchs tallied the second point for the Flames. Fuchs is currently ranked 42nd in the country. And then Kieran Vincent had his match to tie in the singles portion. Head coach Jeff Thomas on the event win.
It's good to get out there and just feel pressure on every hole. It's a little bit different because every hole means something. We also wanted to get them a little bit match play because we haven't had any yet this year going into the national championship because it breaks down the top 8 teams go to match play when it's done. So they've been playing well, so we're just going to try to ride off that. They'll be ready to come conference. You know, we've played a lot of tournaments with the teams in the A-Sun, so we're excited to go there and see what we can do.
So check this out, as you heard from Coach Thomas. Up next for Liberty is the A-Sun Championship this weekend in Athens, Georgia. Another note, LU's Kieran Vincent is now ranked 7th in the nation, the highest individual ranking for a Liberty golfer, and one of the favorites to win the conference tournament. The Flames have a total of 3 golfers in the top 100.
Yeah, having a great season. All right, Liberty lacrosse had a tough test on Tuesday. They headed to number 8 Duke, and the Blue Devils came out of the gate with a vengeance. 8 unanswered goals for Duke to begin this game, put Liberty in quite the hole. But from that point on, LU showed some positive signs. Brooke Bryan, Mia Toscano each scored a pair of goals. Bryan leads the team with 29 goals on the season. In the end, the Lady Flames would fall by the final of 18-6, dropping their season record to 6-6 with a little less than 2 weeks remaining in the regular season. All right, coming up, the incredible story of a Liberty soccer player and his rise from difficult beginnings.
Plus, you waited, and he is coming right now. Rhett joins the show for a brand new Warm, Hot, and Fuego. That's when Flame Central returns.
Service, integrity, honor. You lead your career with these virtues. Now lead your field with the degree you want at a price you've earned. Maximize your benefits at Liberty University and pay just $250 per hour for undergraduate or $275 to $300 per hour for graduate and doctoral degrees. For over 30 years, Liberty has supported military families by offering low tuition and generous benefits, because integrity to us means honoring your service, now and always.
Since 1971, Liberty University has had one mission: training champions for Christ. We've been at this for a while, and in the shadow of the Blue Ridge Mountains, we have grown to be a global force. Today, Liberty runs over 100,000 students around the globe, studying across 15 colleges and schools. And among that, proudly over 30,000 military students and their families. Across 700 programs of study, we train as one: nurses, artists, business leaders of the future and today. Together, we work to give back through service trips, local community work, and over 500,000 volunteer hours per year. And we play just as hard as we study, with 20 NCAA athletic programs and over 40 club sports teams. So, who are we? We are Liberty University, and we train champions for Christ.
Heroes wear uniforms. You wear your strength, courage, dedication on your sleeve, and your determination on your face. We're honored to help heroes like you with a 25% discount on undergraduate, graduate, or doctoral tuition. No matter how you serve, we're here to serve you.
Welcome back to Flames Central. Liberty men's soccer has had some notable wins this season, including a shutout win against North Carolina. But as far as ASUN play goes, it was a bit of a strange season, playing only 4 conference games. The Flames went into overtime in every single one of those matches. Fast forward to the ASUN quarterfinals, and Liberty would meet familiar foe in Lipscomb. It was a scoreless first half, but the Bisons came out and scored 2 goals in the second to take the victory in advance. It marked the first time this season that the Flames have lost in regulation. Liberty has added an extra game this weekend, however, playing Coastal Carolina in hopes of still qualifying for the NCAA tournament. Staying on the pitch for our next story. Hope is the opposite of despair. Hope is something Arnold Onyango wanted in his life from a young age. He needed hope, but he was in a hopeless situation, facing trauma after trauma. Eventually, the sport of soccer would guide Arnold to a place where he would find hope and much more.
Sometimes we feel we have nothing in our life. We feel like we are trash. But when we accept God in our lives, He'll bring everything together, you know? Why did I lose my parents when I was so young? There's no meaning in life, you know? I lose everyone. Why am I living even, you know? My name is Arnold Onyango. I'm from Kenya, in Nairobi City. I'm from a suburb known as Kibera. It's not a great place for somebody to grow up, you know? There's a lot of poverty. There's a lot of drug addicts. There's a lot of crime activities going on.
Arnold Onyango didn't grow up with much. And unfortunately, from a young age, he would experience great loss. First, losing his father, who left him with a special message.
He held my hands and then he was like, I'm the one who's gonna change the family, so I better work hard and at least try to help the family.
Being just a child, Arnold couldn't do much to help his family, so the responsibility fell entirely on his heartbroken mother. A few years later, Arnold would wake up to more devastating news. His mother had passed away.
I felt like something in my heart was burning so bad, like I didn't know what was happening. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I was so weak at that time. I'm not a guy who cries a lot, but I used to cry like every day. Like, I could never see her again, you know?
A young boy, now an orphan. But he did have one thing left.
My mom used to play soccer. Every day she encouraged me to play soccer. So in Africa back home, we have like things like cyber. So if you pay like $1, you're gonna watch like a clip maybe for like 5 minutes. So that's what I used to do. I used to like go and look for money and try to watch people like Neymar, Messi, Ronaldinho. I'm gonna watch them for 5 minutes, and then we didn't even have a soccer ball, but at least we could make soccer with threads and like papers, plastic. After that, I'm gonna like take my soccer ball, I go and put like stones down, and then like try to do what I saw.
His creativity and dedication would pay off. Eventually, a Christian ministry called Karabangi Academy couldn't ignore his talent. He would get to play soccer and get an education. Arnold would also be introduced to a new way of life.
Every day after practice, they were praying. I was like, what the heck is happening, you know? There was this one time, coach was like, we have visitors and they're gonna give us like cleats and soccer ball. And at that time, like I've never had cleats, you know? I've been playing barefooted and I didn't even have soccer ball. So I was so much happy.
Arnold would receive his new cleats and soccer ball, but he would also receive something much greater.
So the pastor was preaching, and then he was like, if you want to surrender your life to Christ, yeah, you can do it right now. So he said, repeat these words, what I'm gonna say, you know. I repeated the words, and then I felt like, wow, I was so new. I felt something new in my heart.
After giving his life to the Lord, Arnold would go on to compete for the Kenyan national team. 4 of them. Eventually, he would be recruited to play soccer and to receive a college education in America. Today, he plays Division I soccer at Liberty, one of the largest Christian universities in the country. And he takes 0 credit for it.
It wasn't my strength, it wasn't me, it was God, you know. If you know God, you're gonna do it. But if you don't know God, you can't do it, you know. So everything circles around up to God again, you know. Romans 8:37-39 says, "No, in all things we are more than conquerors, through him that loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus our Lord." Sometimes we feel we have nothing in our life. We feel like we are trash. But when we accept God in our lives, He'll bring everything together, you know?
So cool how Arnold took trash and made this incredible soccer ball. Even more incredible, his story, the adversity he's overcome in his life to make it to this point and make it to Liberty University where he is succeeding on and off the field.
Yeah, that thing's solid, too.
Solid.
Like, man, I couldn't take my home to my kids.
Pretty
Get it
good,
going.
yeah. All right,
for
well,
sure.
there you go. How about that? All right, time for Warm Hot in Fuego. Top plays, players, moments from the past week. Rhett is here, as he always is, sporting the nice burgundy jacket today. Rhett, do we have a theme this week?
We do. It's a national type of nut day.
Oh, really?
So I kind of want to, it's here with Warm.
Okay.
Do you say pecan or pecan?
I say pecan. But no,
Really?
pecan.
Okay, I'm a pecan guy, so that's the start.
that's
off.
the
I just
theme.
kind of want to establish that.
Okay, good.
National Pecan Day.
Great.
Yeah.
And
so
now let's go to Warm.
Warm. It's Dylan Cumming, and just this is a guy that came in. First start for the Flames. It's a midweek game. You're probably thinking, hey, they're going to use the bullpen a lot today, right? We've seen that.
Yeah.
Here, maybe 3 or 4 guys get out there, get a little bit of work. Not the case. Comes out. First start for LU. Pitches 6 scoreless innings. 2 runs on 5 hits overall when I got through the 7th.
Yeah.
K'd up 4, walked into the thing I was most impressed with, though, is when he did get into a bit of a jam, kept the ball low, and got the double play ball.
Yeah.
It was great. I thought it was so terrific. See the passion coming out of him there. Boys loving it as he goes back into the dugout. Good stuff.
Good looking mustache as well.
Oh,
we always
yeah.
appreciate that
That's
on the
a
show.
great
All right,
gesture.
from warm to hot, your pick. And what is pecan? What was he? Was there a pecan?
No, we're just establishing how we say it. And now
you're going to get into it.
Pecan pie.
Okay.
You got to love a pecan pie. I don't care what time of year it is. Yeah, Joe
We've eaten
Bolton.
them on the show multiple times.
Yeah, Bolton Family Farm up there at their store. I bet you they have great pecan pies. I kind of would be willing just to make a trip out there to
drive
get
up
one.
then.
Yeah, we should. But okay, 3rd time this year, Big East Offensive Player of the Week. You have to think she's in the conversation for Offensive Player of the Year.
That's
the way
incredible.
she's been playing, and she is having a breakout year this her senior season. Last game at home, senior day versus Davidson, 3 goals, 2 assist effort, 40 points on the season, 14 goals, 2nd on the team, and it's just great to see her rolling when it comes into conference play now. And the Lady Flames, like we say, this is a group that has national championship potential.
So excited for conference play and the postseason beyond for them. Conference tournament, I should say. All right, finally in Fuego, your pick and your pecan.
Yeah, pecan puddle it's called. And basically, you can do this at home. A little bit of caramel, throw the pecan in there, just a little drip of little chocolate on that. Oh, now you're talking. All right, Maddie Freese.
You might need to bring some of those to the
I
office.
can do that, yeah. Diving team here. CCSA Diver of the Year as just a freshman. First freshman to become Diver of the Year. Top 10 finish at the NCAA Zone Championships on the 3-meter. And this just goes and talks about how Liberty's doing overall as an athletic program. You're starting to bring in studs as freshmen. That's absolutely awesome.
It is absolutely
Absolutely.
awesome, Rhett.
Absolutely.
Give some love to the
Thank
diving
you.
team. They certainly deserve it this year. All right. Hey, Rhett, appreciate it. Great job as always.
Thanks.
Don't go anywhere. More Flame Central coming up right after this.
In 1776, one of the most important documents in our nation's history was penned by one of Virginia's most famous residents. Throughout the next 200 years, the importance of Central Virginia was deeply woven into the tapestry of our nation's history. Liberty University is blessed to be built upon these same historic grounds, furthering the Christian tradition of our founding fathers and training young men and women of character and of calling. At Liberty, you're welcomed into a community rich with history, and we invite you to explore our campus in Central Virginia to discover more than just the surface level. Building upon the tapestry of history, we strive for greatness, humble to be at the heart of where the country began.
You work hard. You sacrifice. You do what it takes for your kids to succeed. College can be expensive, but your income makes it difficult to qualify for much, if any, need-be state. Until now. Liberty's Middle America Scholarship provides over $20,000 in financial aid over the course of 4 years, to families typically bringing in between $35,000 and $95,000 annually. At Liberty, we don't just believe everyone should have access to higher education, we make it happen.
Times are changing. At Liberty, we've made it our priority to grow, to learn, to improve. But even with all the change, our purpose remains. We want to equip people to go make a difference through their calling in their communities around the world. And though we are blessed with an amazing campus, our most valuable resource has always been the people, our students, and those who inspire them. It's the people who serve, maintain, support. It's you.
What's really important? Not the buildings, not the mountain, not the property, but the young people who use these buildings, who study in these facilities. They are important.
No matter what the future holds, we will stay focused on our goal. And the people of Liberty University are how we will continue to carry out our mission. They are the ones who empower us to
Training champions for Christ.
Champions for Christ.
Training champions for Christ.
Hey, welcome back to the show. If you're like Emily, you have a ton of apps on your phone, and some you hardly use, like the farmersonly.com app. I don't know why you have that. Hey, but an app you will enjoy is the Flames app.
That's right. Download the new Flames app to get news, scores, schedules, and even tickets to Liberty sporting events. Don't leave home without it, but definitely leave home without Matt. Download the Flames app today.
I've actually used the Flames app a lot recently. It is great.
What's wrong with farmers?
No, I love farmers. They're America's backbone. Hey, we're about out of time for this week. As always, go to flamecentral.com to check out the show and download the podcast. You might just enjoy it.
Definitely download the podcast. Thanks for joining us. For Matt, I'm Emily. We'll see you right back here next time.